off the shelf, Medellin 1809, The Shadow of the Eagle. It is turn 6. We start with the orders phase, both players. Still, Spanish are going to stick with their attack orders. They're not going to change any of that. I was just wondering if the design has anything about, like, if a formation, so if Del Park's second division here, I was wondering if the design has anything that says, like, if that formation loses a certain percentage, it's forced off of attack orders, but I don't think the design has that. So I guess you can attack to demoralization is what it would be. You would keep attacking until you hit the number of demoralization points, and actually, would that stop you? Yeah, so there is nothing. Exactly what it is so if this formation, second division there, Del Park's division, keeps attacking, and it takes enough losses to be demoralized, then the effect is they all have one less morale. Oh, that's how you can get F morale. I was wondering how you could get F morale. That's how you get F morale. So I'm looking at that E morale infantry battalion right there. So they would be an F morale. And what that would do, which I like that. That basically, that has major cascading effects. I like that. So you're fighting, you're taking losses, you get demoralized. Everyone's morale drops one more level, which means that since you're still attacking, you have to still attack. You're taking losses even faster, which means you're being eliminated and routed even more. So you overall lose, well, you definitely lose effectiveness, but you will basically melt away, even though there's not I won't say arbitrary, but even though there's not another orders rule that imposes a change on you just because of, I mean I could still, for example, the attack order. Here, I'll give an example. The attack order means that at least 2 units must attack if at all possible. They must attack if at all possible. So maybe the reverse is, if a formation has an attack order and it gets all the way down to only 1 good order unit, then it's forced to go from, attack to defend orders or something like that. But that is somewhat arbitrary, because it's not like somebody shows up at Del Park's, shows up next to him on his horse and tells him, all right, your orders are now defend whether you like it or not. I like this, just that you'll have calamity. I mean, you'll reach calamity even faster. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so the Spanish are going to keep their attack orders. For the French, so the French situation is Lasalle over here will keep his defend order, but he needs to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But he has defend orders, so he can't move. So that's the out of command problem. I'm just going to leave that. Maybe that's intended. Latour Marburg over here will keep his, he's going to keep his defend orders one more turn, because oh man. All right. I just realized this now, so I'm capturing it on camera. I won't change anything, but I also need to remember, I doubt these two cavalry, I've had these two cavalry formations pulling back, refusing shock combat. They can't do that with the defend order. There's no exception for that. Units may not move except to reoccupy a position that was lost or to reestablish contact. You know what? You know what? Maybe that's not movement. You know what? I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to say that they can do the refuse shock combat and retreat, because it's retreat. I mean, depending on how closely you use the wording, I mean, it is. It says retreat. Defenders may not refuse shock combat except for cavalry and infantry in guerrilla formation, which may retreat one hex if attacked by enemy infantry, not cavalry. So I'm going to leave that. I am going to leave that. I'll say that that wasn't movement. All right, so Latour Marburg is going to keep his defend order at least one more turn, which is going to allow me to move Victor back here. I want to move Victor up. Center, get him more center located, and then I'll probably have Marburg go to maybe harassment orders. This is one thing I was thinking of. If I were going to add one more layer of detail, and frankly I don't consider it that extreme, if I were going to add one level of detail, I would add a table. The game already uses a fair amount of tables, which I frankly like. Add a little table, but because the way I read it, moving between orders is exactly the same process. And I don't quite understand how it's the same to go from, defend to attack as opposed to just going from harassment to attack. In other words, I might have a little table that has at least a little modifier for the kind of order you're coming from and going to. Actually, it wouldn't even have to be a table. You could this would be 2 or 3 modifiers to add to the order's change procedure, which again was the count the distance between the senior and subordinate leader, count the number of hexes, and divide by a number given in the scenario rules. So you could do that and then have a die roll modifier for, again, the type of order you're going from and to. Anyways, I did think about that as one distinct thing that I do see missing from the design, and I think that this goes along with everything else, with everything. Yeah, I think that would fit in, but anyways, it's a small thing that's missing. So Latour Marburg will go one more turn with defend, so I can move Victor up, because remember, if Victor tries to change an order, he can't move. Ruffin is going to continue with his maneuver order to get over here and fill this gap between the high ground there, between the high ground and the river Guadiana. All right, and I'm going to leave Laval north of the river, north of Medellin village. Just to go over something I've been looking at closely. It's Spanish defensive fire, and I have French defender here. It's out of command, but I don't think that matters. It has a loss already. Not sure that matters yet. So it's 3 strength in the hex. We've got 2 Spanish defenders adjacent. I'm looking and looking and looking. All it says is infantry fire is in adjacent hexes. So maybe with the 30-minute time scale and the 250-meter hexes, these, it's not a hard direction here. So as far as I can tell, they can fire, and they're firing into the French flank. Yeah. So that's it's 6. Okay, that's 5. 5 and 6 is 11. 11 strength points attacking. The modifiers are defender and square, no. Fire into flank, +2. Fire against guerrilla, no. Against deployed artillery, no. Light artillery, heavy artillery, morale A, B, or E or F, no. The Spanish morale are both D. So it's +2 for the fire into the flank. Yeah, they get a 4. On the 11 column is a 1. It's just a plain 1, nothing more. So the French are now at half their original strength. So finishing the French, French offensive fire. Yeah, offensive fire. Nothing major, no major results. So that got me thinking a little bit about this fire table, now that I've played enough with it. As a matter of fact, just do a little bit of analysis on this fire table. So here it is again. First of all, one thing that's interesting that I like is that this table has, it is generally like, let's look at the 10 column or 12 column. DR1, 1R, 2, 3, 3R. That, actually that's not a good, that's not a good example. No, I'm wrong. But it has a little bit of, it has a tiny bit of variability throughout here. Like it's an one M here and one R here, and a 1R here. Yeah, but what more importantly, I was going to look at these modifications, these modifiers. So to get these +2, and then to force the enemy to get a -2 against you. Well, first of all, that's an easy one. Put your infantry that can use guerrilla formation, have them in guerrilla formation. That protects them with this -2, which makes sense because they're all dispersed. But really, it's defenders in square and fire into the flank. So I think you need to get the flank fire. See, what are the things you can control? You can't, your troops are going to have the morale they're going to have. A or B morale gets a +1, E or F morale gets a -1. Yeah, because there's F there, this makes me think that this is current morale, not printed morale. So if you're down 1 because you're demoralized, a B that's getting a +1 through the battle, if it gets demoralized and drops to a C, it's not getting that anymore. Okay. Same for a D down to an E. But I think you really want to get these two right here. So get that flank fire. And obviously, or maybe not so obviously, but if you have, see, the French have more cavalry and better cavalry and heavier cavalry, but they're so far on the defense. One nice thing is that I'm thinking to play this all the way through, the French are going to have an opportunity to counterattack. And that makes it, if that's true, that makes this battle that much more interesting. That both sides have a defense and an offensive phase of the battle. But the French have all this cavalry, but they're defending, they're pulling back to save strength. But but it'd be nice to, I thought about this right here. Here you have this artillery, perfect, 2 hexes away. We have E grade infantry right there. So it would be great if, because you can fire down hex sides. So if the French could, I'll take a cavalry from, I'll take this cavalry. So it would be nice if the French could use cavalry to charge the Spanish there, force them, force them. It's not really forcing, but get them to go into square. Then your fire, oh, actually that's fire. Defender in square is +2. So, yeah, I was looking at the fire table. So then you fire into there. You're 2 hexes away. You get 150% your printed strength. Then you can cause some real damage. Then you're causing 1 or 2, if not 3, strength point losses. I guess that's how you want to do it. Not easy. I mean, if it were easy, the game wouldn't be fun. But I think that's, now I'm seeing that's what you want to do. That's what you want to try to do. And while we're thinking about this fire, similarly about the shock combat. So just real quickly about the shock table. First, its big deal is leadership, not surprisingly. And on the French side, man, they have Lasalle here with a 3. He's a Superman. You've got La Tour Marburg. He's a 2. Very, very nice. Valot's a 1. Ruffin is a 2. And Laval is a 1. So that is a high average right there. Yep, that's a high average. And Victor is a 2. Yeah, that is a high average. So big deal is leadership. Big deal is the difference in the grade of morale. Big obviously for shock. Staying on or having attack orders, that's good. Having defense orders, well, actually those are just the plus and minus ones are just what they are. But -2 for cavalry against square. Yeah, cavalry against square. That's obvious. So there's the incentive to go into square, because you force the enemy cavalry to take a -2 penalty. But then you want to attack the square and get the bonuses for that.